Hello everyone! Welcome to the stream! Welcome! Thank you for joining today. So this is gonna be a little bit more off the cuff than usual. It's a not moody, it's a cloudy not foggy, but fall day outside. So we're just gonna be kind of chill. I'm gonna show some of the progress I've made on the texturing side, because if you showed up for the last stream where we focused on texturing, you might notice a few improvements here. Sort of subtle, but I tried to make a few changes here. But thank you so much for joining the stream today, everyone. Hello, Sylvie. Hello, Mel. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the stream. So, without further ado, we'll probably get into it in just a moment here. Just gonna mention this once at the beginning of the stream. If you look in the description below, you're gonna see that there's a unique discount code for my low poly course until I think the end of this month, 6 days from now, for 10% off. And this is a course that is really good for beginners if you want to learn things like rigging, texturing, modeling, all that stuff in a lot of depth. And now's the best time to get the absolute best value on it, because it is 10% off until the end of this month, but just if you use that link in the description below this video, aka Teto Live at the end of the URL. So we have 42 perfect reviews. So really excited about that, and really excited to keep making more videos. I was actually working on a different Crash Landing Academy video before going live today, and I'm really excited to share more about that real soon. Oh, you playing Bergen Truck? Heck yeah. Awesome. Welcome, cameraman, welcome. Hello, Javi, welcome. Need to continue playing Calamity with my friends sometime? Absolutely. I love Terraria Calamity. It's so fun. But yeah, as per usual, if you have any questions at all throughout this process, throw them in the chat. That's what it's there for. Without further ado, let's get right into the things I worked on since our last stream. So you might notice a few changes in the pants here. This texture was updated quite significantly. There's things like actual pockets that look proper. It's not just duplicated on the opposite side. It's actually different back there. Try to reuse a lot of my UV map as much as possible, so I didn't have to have multiple pockets. I could just have one that I'm using on the side right here as well as on the back. Added this line for the back of the shorts right here, and kind of shaded the stuff under here as well, and made this a little bit more shadowed, because in theory these pants, they're supposed to be hollow from the bottom, right? So I can fake that with shading here, and maybe if I want to, I could even do something like this. I'm just pushing these. You can barely even see what I'm doing, just pushing these up. Could do that as well. Let's see what that looks like. I don't feel like I need to. I kind of like this, and it'll probably simplify rigging a lot. So I'll probably just leave the shorts like that. The shorts are really being sold in the texture. They look extremely basic in our solid view. They look a lot more better in our rendered view. And there's still some things that are quite basic, I will admit, on the texturing side. For example, the hands here. This could not be more basic. It's just a gradient. But honestly, I think I'm fine with that for this being my first foray into anime-style character modeling. I probably want to keep textures a little bit more simple. And yeah, I added the line for her t-shirt as well. I refined her face quite a bit. There's a lot more subtle shading towards the bottom and on the hair right here as well. And just gradations and everything got touched up a bit. There's a lot more of a chunky hair highlight right here as well, which is really fun to add. I cleaned up the hair highlights on her drills as well, and cleaned up her ear texture as well here. I'm noticing there's an issue right here where these are two different shades of red, and we should probably fix that right now. Let's do that by selecting these. I know this is a rigging stream, but I just want to fix this up real quick. Let's just select both. Get this kind of similar. Okay, yeah. Put that here. That's looking kind of clean, unlike this part, which does not. I'm kind of just laying triangles on top of this model. It's probably not the best way of doing things. In fact, I know it's not. I should have just attached it to the original geometry directly. But I'm still getting out of my old low poly modeling habits a little bit here, if I'm being honest. Oh, it's also not supposed to be there. Move those as well. There we go. All right. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on in the texturing front. Just a lot of little refinements, like cleaning things up, adding little highlights and lines occasionally in places. Oh, and the Crocs as well. They were like overhauled, as well as the bottom of the feet, to be a lot more detailed. They're still not supposed to, they're not supposed to be super detailed, but there's just a little bit more detail there, so that they kind of hold up a lot better, because they were really, really basic previously. So that's how that's going. Does this have subdivision? It does. Okay, sweet. All right, so that's kind of how this is going. And now that I'm pretty content with both my textures and my topology, now is the time to start doing rigging. And there's a few things we'll do before we start rigging, but let me catch up in the chat first. I have a question. I think you talked about this last stream, but I can't remember it right now. What is Goo Engine? That is a great question, Mel. So if I go to File, About Blender right here, you're gonna see this is version 4.1.0 Goo Engine. And Goo Engine is just a fork of Blender. The custom build created by Dylan Goo and his team of Blender that was made specifically for Dylan Goo's needs and his team's needs. And you can tell just by looking at his stuff, you can look at some of this, like very stylized rendering going on here, right? So Goo Engine is a fork of Blender designed to make animations that look like this. Very stylized, a bit anime inspired, obviously. And it has just a few features that I really like that kind of make me use it for certain purposes. For example, like, it doesn't add anything to modeling, it doesn't add anything to rendering directly. What it adds is purely based on material properties. I believe that's about it. And I think there's a few other things it adds, but the big things that I care about are what it adds to material properties. For example, the edge highlights on the hair here. You can see those really sharp, clean looking highlights around the hair here that are like blue, that you can only see at certain angles. If we go to the hair material in our shader editor right here, you're gonna see that right here, there's gonna be a curvature node that's eventually plugged into like a color ramp and a mix node and all that stuff. This curvature node itself is exclusive to Goo Engine. Like, this is not in main Blender. So you're basically using a fork of Blender to get really nice NPR, aka non-photorealistic rendering options. Same with the way the hair, the eyelash is rendered through the hair here, where it looks really clean and sharp like that. That is accomplished, once again, using a Goo Engine exclusive node called, I believe Set Depth is the Goo Engine exclusive part. I think these are in yeah, these are definitely in regular Blender as far as I remember, but the Set Depth node is a Goo Engine exclusive. And if I just turn that off, you're gonna see that no longer renders through the hair. But if I enable that again, it renders through the hair, which is really cool. And the skin, apparently. That's not supposed to be like that, but oh well. So that's that. That's how that's kind of set up. And that's why I use Goo Engine, because it's tends to be just a really nice way to enhance the visuals on your models. It's a really good question, though. Mel, thank you. Are the eyes 2D? The irises are basically 2D, yes. The irises are just flat planes, and this is kind of just like a really low poly sphere, basically. Not a sphere, low poly circle. However, the actual like cavity behind the eyes right here, that is completely 3D, as you can see here. So that's all 3D. This as well, it's 3D geometry, but it's technically like perfectly flat, the eyelashes. And the eyebrows and the, whatever you want to call this, the eyebrows are also like perfectly flat, like so. But yeah, that is, they are, so to answer your question, Joshua, yes, they are kind of 2D, kind of 3D, a little bit of both. cartooning on my live on my monitor. My life is really worth living for. So true, I mean, so true. All right, so with all that preamble out of the way, let's actually do some rigging. I'm gonna close this and move this down so I can actually get a better idea. Scooch this over so I can get a lot cleaner of an idea of how this process starts. All right, so some very, very important things to know about rigging. Before you touch rigging, there's a few things that you really should do like 100% of the time. The first is going to be pressing, I believe it's Control-Shift-Alt-S. No, it's Control-Alt-S, my bad. So the first thing you want to do when you start rigging is press Control+Alt+S. So Control+Alt+S, and what that does is save an incremental version of your file. If you look at the top of Blender here, I don't know if you can see it, but it says Teto Birdbrain 7. It previously was 6, it just went up a number. And that's because we want to back up our file before we do anything like that. Any kind of rigging stuff that could be potentially destructive to work we've done. Just to be safe, you kind of want to do that. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my objects here and get rid of any armature modifiers. Some people like applying mirror modifiers for rigging. I don't personally find that necessary. I never have needed to do that. But if you think that will help you, or you're having some kind of issue with your model, absolutely do that by all means. But I'm just going to get rid of my armature modifiers because we're about to make some new ones in a second here anyway. Not manually, but we're going to automatically create some. Just a few moments here. So I'm just selecting every object in my scene just to double check. There's no armature modifiers. Alright, sweet. I don't think there is on that. Definitely do not apply subdivision modifiers for a model like this though. You want to keep that. So that you always have the option to turn it off when you're doing animation stuff and save yourself a ton of performance. Really boost your frames. So, now that we've kind of gone through and got rid of any armature modifiers, the second step is extremely, extremely important, is I want to press A. Let me turn on screencast keys, actually, to make our lives a little bit easier. I have way too many add-ons. Let's do background. See those? All right, sweet. So I'm going to press A. In object mode to select all objects in our scene. Then we press Tab, then press A again. And then I'm going to make sure I'm on vertex select. I don't think it really matters, but just to be safe. Then I'm going to press F3 and search for merge, and then do merge by distance. And we're going to see that we just removed 83 vertices that were on top of each other. I need to be careful that I didn't just do something with my face in my case here, so I'm going to actually undo that before I actually do that operation. And I'm going to do that for everywhere on my model except that face. So I'm going to select all, again, pressing A to select all objects in my scene. Then I'm going to press, I don't know why I didn't do that time, that's weird. So A to select all objects in my scene, Tab to go to edit mode, A once again to select all objects in edit mode, then press, I'm searching for the operation. You can also go up here to mesh, then you can find cleanup, and then you can go to merge by distance. Yeah, right there. But in my case here, I do this a lot, so I'm probably going to want to right click on this and add it to my quick favorites. So now I can just press Q and find the merge by distance command right there. So I'm going to click on that. We're going to see I removed 83 vertices. That means that there are 83 vertices on my model that were doing absolutely nothing of value and would probably cause a lot of issues later on. And I'm just using the default merge distance here because that's usually fine. All right, that's awesome. It's exactly what we want to see. So we cleaned up our model by doing that. I'm going to press Alt+H to reveal the head again. I'm going to also do the merge by distance command on the head. Looks like we didn't remove any vertices there, which is good. That means there's no problems. Same with the eyelashes, no problems there. I didn't remove any vertices, so that's good. So now that we've done that, there's one more thing I want to do, is I want to select all my objects in my scene by pressing A, Tab to go into edit mode. Then I'm going to go to the select by trait, and then faces by sides. Then I want to set this to greater than 4. And what this is doing is finding parts of my model that have 4 or more sides, because that means that it's an n-gon, which we do not want on a rigged model ever. That would be a really annoying problem. So I'm going to press / on my keyboard. Actually, I'm going to press numpad 0 on my keyboard to zoom in to see if there's anywhere in my model that does have an n-gon, and sure enough, there's one right there. I think that's the only part of my model that does have one though. Let me double check. Great. If you see more than that, don't worry. You can fix them right now. So now that I know that there's an n-gon right here, I'm going to want to fix that. So I'm going to select this part of my model. I'm going to / to isolate just this model, and I'm going to go to simplify because I don't want to look at this subdivided. And sure shoot, that is definitely an n-gon. To fix that, all you need to do in our case here is press K to use the knife tool. Then just do that. And now this is a try, and this is a quad. Is there anything other way I could clean this up? Be more clean? In my case here, actually, I will actually just make another edge loop through the center of our hair here. Oh, interesting. Did not like that. Let's try that again. Every time you do this, you're going to find some weird issues with your model. This is pretty normal. All right, so I'm going to press K and then go up in that center point. I don't know why Blender is doing that, so I'm just going to delete that face. Then I'm going to select these edges, because this is double-sided. Put that here. I'll scooch this out a bit. The edge flow on this leaves something to be desired. I'm definitely going to start using the edge flow add-on, the free one, for my next model, because I had a lot of issues with that for this one. And that's probably something I'll want to cover in the high poly anime style character modeling tutorial I'm going to make. All right, so I think that's actually good now. I just didn't like the fact that that had more verts than this side, which makes sense. So again, I'm going to select all the different parts of objects in my scene, press tab to go to edit mode, then I can actually go to select by trait, faces by sides, and I can right click and add that to my quick favorites. So that's a lot easier to access. And now, looks like we don't have, well, let's deselect all faces. So we can see right now we have 0 faces selected. Now if we press Q and go faces by sides, looks like we are still selecting one. Where is that? Oh, interesting, it was hiding. So let's select this model. Oh, yeah, that is definitely an n-gon. So for our case here, this just has way too many sides. I'm just going to select this face, and after you search, then poke that face. And that should be totally fine. There we go. So that is the last n-gon on our model, which is great. If you really care about triangles, in my case here, I'm pretty conservative with my triangle use. But if you have way too many triangles on your model, or you're having some kind of issues with deformations, you can also do the faces by sides. Then you can set this to equal to, and then 3. Then this will show you all the different parts of your model that are made up of triangles, which is not necessarily a problem at all, but sometimes you'll want to avoid having those. So you can see on my model, there's definitely quite a few triangles, but in my experience, I have tried to rig this before, and it didn't really cause issue. So I think I'm fine with these. Yeah, that should be fine. So we're at 12,000 triangles total right now. All right, sweet. So that's all looking good. And these are steps I would highly recommend everyone take before they start rigging their characters, is to do all that. Make a new incremental save, check if your model has any n-gons, check where your triangles are in your model, if you're okay, if they're by deformation points and all that. Because you do generally want to use quads in your models a lot more than you're using triangles. You use them kind of sparingly. Especially for stuff like this. For low poly, it matters less, but for medium to high poly, it matters a lot more. So all that is to say, we do that before we even touch rigging. We really want to make sure our model is cleaned up and ready to be rigged before we even start that process. So let me actually catch up on chat, because that was a whole lot of yapping. may have to download Goo Engine. I want to do Genshin and Honkai animations in my free time. Goo Engine is great. I would highly recommend it. If you know how to compile source code, it is free to download. Otherwise, it's just on Dylan Goo's Patreon. Did you see the Undertale stream? I heard of the Undertale stream. I've seen clips, Jave. It's awesome. Welcome, 1619. Welcome, little helper. The fact that I just finished texturing my character and want to start rigging, then your live pops up. Awesome. Glad to hear that, are you? Hello, Ink Lightning. Welcome, welcome. Just got rocking your stream now and trying to model an OC of mine for a while now. Thought it'd be fine to hop in the stream for a bit. Awesome. Yeah, we're just about to start rigging. So, is there any other steps I would take before rigging? Probably not. We just want to make sure our model is kind of ready for that process. So now that all of that stuff is done, we're gonna do maybe, I don't want to say the most controversial part of this process, but a part of this process that I do that not everyone does. If you want to, you can literally press Shift plus A, armature, single bone, and you can go crazy by just making every single bone on your character rig by hand. However, I'm an animator. I like IK/FK constraints. I like being able to switch between IK and FK by clicking a button. I like being able to have really nice like hip controllers and like things parented and set up just in a very animation friendly way, like without spending hours and hours on that process. So for me, what I like to do for my characters is use Rigify and literally just like use Rigify to automatically weight and paint my model, then clean it up afterwards. So what I like to do is I'm going to turn off, I think this is not going to look good on YouTube, so I'll just turn off the filmic transparency. Film, there we go. All right, so now I'm going to press Shift plus A, and because I have the Rigify add-on enabled, I'm going to have an option to do a human meta rig. So I'm going to click on that right here, human meta rig. Then I can't actually see what I'm doing, so I'm going to go to the object data properties and set these bones to in front so I can see them in front of my character here. And then I kind of just want to line up this skeleton with Teto here. So I'm going to do that by going to, is the scale right here? Well, first of all, I'm going to go into edit mode, select all my bones, and kind of just scale this to line it up with the proportions of Teto a little bit. I'll do that. And something else that's really important, that a very common beginner mistake is, because I have my 3D cursor just in like the center of my scene here, so it's at 0, 0, 0. Everything I spawn for my scene like spawns up from that point. It's really important when you're rigging. Let me turn on my grid here. Floor. It's really important to model things in Blender so that their feet are flat on this floor. Even if it's like a box, I would not model it, for example, like down here or rig it down here. I would highly recommend all your modeling and rigging happens as if this is an actual floor you can't go through. Because when you export this to game engines or other, you like add this character to an environment or anything like that, it's just gonna make your life a lot easier when you're moving them around. So, with all that done, we now have our character ready to rig. So what I'm now going to do is, because this is mostly sized up, but you can only do so much in this first part. So now I need to line up her hands, because this is set up for a T pose, this rig is set up for an A pose, but we have Teto in a T pose. And I'll actually move this as well. Right there. I'm going to press X-ray to move these together, because if you move any of these even slightly out of the way, Rigify will throw a fit. It does not like that. And you're going to see a ton of complicated face bones in this. Honestly, I don't care about any of these. However, I know that Blender does not like it if you delete these, which is really silly. I don't understand that at all. But in my case here, I'm just going to like literally just put them way above our character so they're easier to delete later. Because I could not care less about these face bones. I'm going to make my own for the face. This is not like a photorealistic face. It would not work very well anyway. All right. So now that that is done, just lining up our skeleton with our character here. And I'm going to make sure to turn on X symmetry, the top right here, so that when I move, for example, one arm, it's gonna mirror it to the other arm perfectly. So now I just wanna line up this hand and line up this elbow. And you wanna make absolutely sure there's a bend in this elbow, otherwise your IK will be totally messed up. And we just wanna line things up here. Try to scale them to see if that helps. Does help a bit. Sweet. Then I'm gonna line up my thumb here. And because I have X symmetry on, this is gonna get mirrored to the other side automatically, so I only need to do this once for one of the hands. Now, line these up. This does not need to be perfect, by the way. People like to stress out about this stuff, but I promise you, you can always fix stuff later. And worst case scenario, it just totally doesn't work. It does not take that long to restart one of these once you get the hang of it. I promise you. People really like try to get it perfect the first time, including me. I made that mistake plenty of times when I was starting out, but don't worry about it too much. You can always restart this if it doesn't work out. We've not done anything destructive yet, after all. So, it's pretty good. From the top view, anyway. But I want to go to the front view to see if this is even lining up. And it kind of is, but not too much. So I'm going to move these down. Move these down. But I want to be careful. I do want the bend to still be there, so our fingers will actually curl properly. Move that up. It's back a little. This up. This up. And again, I want this to curl properly, so I gotta be careful that this is like pointed downwards. It's kind of like an elbow, where you want it to be bent in the direction that you want it to bend. Otherwise, if it's like perfectly straight or the opposite direction, it's not gonna curl properly. So, move this. Alright, looking pretty good. Reveal these bones. You can, at any point in edit mode, click on bones to hide them with H, then push Alt plus H to reveal them again. That's looking pretty okay. We'll move this over a little bit. I don't know. I have not actually done this too much for human rigs like this, so who knows how this is going to go in the first attempt. We'll see. This is, all Rigify ribs come with like breastbones by default, so yeah, I know breastbones is kind of a weird statement, but it's true, that's what they are. So I'm gonna just put them like there-ish. So now I want to line this up with the sides of my feet. So I kind of want this one to end here and this one to end here, because this is for foot roll. So when I rotate my foot, these are actually going to like roll from these points. So I want to line this up with like the sides, basically. I'm noticing now I should probably select all of these. Press Shift plus H. No, not Shift plus E to mark them as edge creased. There we go. That's better. Go back to my rig by selecting it and then pressing Tab to go into edit mode. Move this back a little bit. This back a little bit. These seem a bit close together from our scaling we did earlier, so I'm going to just move them to the side a little bit. This stuff does not need to be perfect, though. I am not aiming for perfection here. So now I want to actually see if this is going to work, because Rigify loves to just fail, and you have to restart everything again, and it sucks. And luckily, I can do this as many times as I want, so I'm just going to click Generate Rig. Let's see if I messed up live on stream and embarrassed myself. Let's see. It's loading. This usually takes a while. Sweet! I did not embarrass myself yet. So I'm going to hide that part of my rig here. Then I'm going to click on this rig we just generated. This is not actually bound to our character yet. which is why we're going to go to viewport display, click on in front. Then I'm going to press Alt plus Tab to go into pose mode to see if my fingers are curling the way I want them to. And to test that, I want to select these little like points and press S to scale them in. Get a solid view. Again, this is not bound to our character yet, so these should not do more than just rotate these actual points. I think that is working as intended though, which is fantastic. So why do they look like that though? They look like they're coming from here, which is a little odd. And there's only So, looks like I might have messed something up in our rig here, which is fine, because I can just delete this rig we just generated, press Alt plus H to reveal this rig again, then I can inspect and see what went wrong here, potentially. Looks like it should be fine. In theory. Let's try generating that again. Generate rig. Let me catch up on chat, because I just did a whole lot of waffling. She looks like she faltered on the forethought. So true, Maya, so true. Hello, Babs. Welcome, welcome. Hey, let's let her skull put it back. She doesn't need it. She doesn't even have a brain. She's got a bird brain. It's not anything right? Nope, we had just started. Not yo. But a rocking them pattern lock screen crocs. Hell yeah. Making a rig from scratch in this economy? I know. They had to do the whole thing for the arms? Are the fingers bent the right way in the model? The rig? They had to redo the whole thing for the arms. That's what I'm testing right now. See, now these look fine. What in the world? What? What the heck? Oh, I'm a goober. It's because I was moving the bounding box, not the individual origins. Okay, that's my fault. I thought that was a rig generation error. That was not. My bad. My bad. Okay. No, that's working fine. Sweet. What about the thumb? That is also working fine. All right, good sign. So that's... Before I actually bind this to my rig, I want to test it as much as I can. So I want to test the foot roll as well, which is like right here, I believe. Nope, it's not. It's right here. I think that's fine. And test like the toes. That's all fine. And move this to see if the knees follow along and bend as we want them to. They do. Again, we're just doing this before we actually bind it to our model. Looks like the elbows are set up properly as well. Fantastic. Sweet. Now, before we bind this model to our character, I'm going to press Tab to go into edit mode and delete all of these because I don't want any of these face bones. So I'm going to hide my original rig because it's very confusing. I'm going to select my generator rig. I'm going to select all these bones, edit mode, and delete them because I don't want any of those face bones. All right. Then, before I save my scene, I'm going to press Control-Alt-S to save as an iteration, so I can always go back to my previous scene if this goes wrong. So now I'm on Teto to Birdbrain 8. We are just on 7. I always want to do that, and I'm always saving these to the cloud as well, so that I'm not losing progress, even if I do have a crash or anything like that. I'm constantly, look at how much I'm pressing Control+S. I'll do that all the time. So now, with all that hard work out of the way, we're now actually ready to bind our model to our rig potentially. And keep in mind, we're about to do this and it's going to look pretty awesome and smooth. If you do this, it may not. And the reason for that is every stage of this process, I have built this model in a way so that it will play nicely when it's rigged. I've even done this before and noticed what issues cropped up when I binded my model to a Rigify rig, and then then I deleted the rig and just cleaned up my model and resolved as many of those issues as I could. This isn't going to be a perfect solution, but it's going to do a lot of heavy lifting for us. So now, to actually bind our model to our character here, we're going to press A to select all objects in our scene. We're going to shift select our rig to deselect it, then shift select our rig again to select it. Then I'm going to press Control plus P. And then I'm going to do armature deform with automatic weights. And that's going to take a minute. Not too long, thankfully. And then we move our character around. So if we select our rig, this is the magic part. If I move their hips, they're moving exactly as we want. If I select our fingers, they're curling exactly as we'd want them to. They might have a little bit of flaws as we dig into things more here. For sure, this is not a perfect process, but we just saved ourselves so much time compared to doing it like completely manually. This is kind of just my preferred workflow. Not everyone does things like this, but this is how I prefer to do it. So let's test the torso. There's going to be a lot of problems in the head area. Yep, but that's easy, very, very easy to fix, thankfully. Just the legs. Sweet. There's also an issue in the feet there, but that happened last time. That's actually quite easy to fix as well. Unrendered view. Awesome. So this is looking pretty good, though there's a few issues that need to get taken care of. So to start out with, the feet looks weird. If we change the torso, rotate it like this, you're going to notice that, actually up here, you're going to notice that there's some weird issues going on with the hair and stuff. So how do we fix that? Well, this is actually extremely, extremely easy. So to do that, all I want to do is, I can even hide, I shouldn't hide my rig. So basically I want to recreate the problem I just had. So I'm going to move my character forward and see that, for example, this is being really weird, right? So I'm going to just move my rig to see like the problematic area really pop up. And I'm going to turn off or turn on Simplify during this process to make my life easier. So I can actually see like each individual point of my model a lot more easily. So now I'm going to select this part of my character, of my model rather. Then we're going to go to the Object Data Properties tab. Then we're going to go to Deform Spine 6 because that's our head. That's our character's head, which we want this to be 100% weighted to, so that it kind of perfectly tracks and follows along with our character's head. 5 is spine, 4 is like mid-spine, 3 is, I think, like around there in the torso area, 2 is like very lower torso, 1 is like extremely low torso, and def spine is just like your character's root, like their hips, more or less. But in our case here, we just want to do Deform Spine 6. So I'm going to, with this part of my model selected, I'm going to go to Weight Paint. I'm going to set my weight and strength to 100%. Then, extremely importantly, I'm going to go to Item. No, I'm not. I'm going to go to Tool. And then I'm going to make sure that this right here, Auto Normalize, is checked. Extremely, extremely important. This should be enabled by default. For some reason, it's not. But we want Auto Normalize enabled. So now, with all of those selected, I'm going to make sure that I have Gradient selected with 100% weight, 100% strength on Deform Spine 6 with Auto Normalize enabled. Then I'm going to hold left click and drag outward. I'm going to keep doing that. Hold left click, drag outward, hold left click, drag outward. You're going to see that this is actually, if we go to Object Mode, select a rig now, and select the head bone, which is this bone up here, it's going to be perfectly tracking our head bone to these parts of our model. So these perfectly follow along with our head now, which is great. However, these are not. Because if we go to Weight Paint here, and we go to all the way to the top to Deform Spine 6, this is our head bone. It's only partially weighted to our head bone, which we don't want. We're eventually going to add hair bones to this, but for now, we just want these 100% weighted to our character's head bone. So again, because I have Gradient selected, 100% weight, 100% strength with Auto Normalize enabled on Deform Spine 6. It's very important that you have this actively selected, otherwise you'll be painting on the wrong bone and it'll be a huge headache. Then, just gonna do this again. Press and hold left click, like that. Now, if I go back to object mode, select my rig, press Control plus Tab to go to pose mode, rotate my head around, all these parts of my hair are following along with my character's head perfectly, which is really cool, right? I want to do that for a lot of different parts of my character's head. I want to do that for this. So I'm going to do that now. I'm not going to explain it again because I just explained it twice and that'll be really annoying. So I'm going to go to Weight Paint, Deform Spline 6, hold left click, hold left click. That looked very red, but it was actually not 100% red quite yet. Select this part of my model, Weight Paint, all the way to the top. Maybe. Okay. Thank you, Blender. Very cool. Make sure that's 100% weighted. Do that here as well. Weight paint. Go all the way to the top. Make sure that this is 100% weighted. My weights have disappeared. Oh, I was in Vertex Paint. My bad. So I'm going to go to Deform Spline 6, the head bone. Hold left click. Do that for this part of the model as well. Weight paint. Deform Spline 6. Hold left click, just click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. This part of my model. Weight paint. Hold left click, drag. This part of my model. Weight paint. Left click and drag. Do that part for the ears as well. That should absolutely be 100%. These are not going to wiggle around really. Weight paint. Go all the way to the top. Deform Spline 6. There we go. That was not 100%, so thank goodness it is. And I'm noticing an issue with my model here. This happens all the time. Looks like there's a hole in my model, which I don't want. So I'm going to select my model in object mode, press tab to go to edit mode, select these verts, and then I'm going to merge at center, which is just, you can press F3 and type merge at center. But in my case here, I have in my quick favorites, so I'm going to do merge at center. Merge at center. Now I'm going to see if there's any other parts of my model that have holes in them. I don't think so. I think we're good. Generally want to avoid those. All right. So now I'm going to make sure that this is a weight painted to my character's head as well. Looks like it is. Perfect. And keep in mind, our character is like teleporting back and forth because we're switching between object mode and edit mode while we have our character posed. If you don't want your character posed when you're editing, you can always go to your object data properties and set it to rest position like this, so that it's not posed. Otherwise, you can go to pose position if you want it to be posed. But I'm going to reset my pose like this. So I'm going to select all my bones in the scene, press Alt-S, Alt-R, Alt-G. Then I'm going to rotate my head once again to see if this is looking good. That's looking pretty sweet. Other than that, that looks really weird. I think I gotta take a picture of this. This is pretty funny. Like that. So, now to fix that, I want to go to object mode. Weight paint. Go up to... I'm thinking how to best do this. Deform Spline 6. Ideally, this would still be separated, so I'm actually going to do that right now. Because basically, I want this part of my head. I'm going to select right here. I want part of my head to be 100% weight painted to my head, and the other part, I want it to be a lot more of a soft gradation. Let me just select all of these real quick. We kind of want all of this part of my head to be perfectly weight painted to our head bone. Whereas other parts like the neck, we don't want that to be 100% weight painted. We want some like flexibility in that area. But we don't want that in our character's skull because that's going to look really, really weird and incorrect, essentially. We probably want it for basically all of our character other than their skull, now that I think about it, including like here. And also here. Basically everywhere that is like literally a skull, you do want 100% weight painted. More or less. But that area, maybe less so. We'll see. Yeah, I think we probably want all of that 100%, and everything else can be a little bit softer. But we can always fix this later. So with all that selected, I'm going to go into weight paint. Then I'm going to press this vertex selection mask option, or this one rather. And now that I'm in Deform Spline 6, we can see that it's previewing our posed character. We can see how messed up that topology is looking. However, with the gradient tool selected right here, with 100% weight and strength, if I just hold left click, now it's gonna look as it should. So this is before, this is after. And that's looking a lot better. We can see that this part looks a little messed up though. We probably want to clean our gradation between those things. And to do that, all I need to do is press T to open my tools here, go to either smear or average, probably smear. Then I can just press left click on these vertices. I'll lower the strength a bit because that seems really extreme. And then I just want to smooth this out just a bit. Just a little bit. Go to the blur. See if I like that a little more. Just kind of want to do whatever looks most correct. That's looking pretty good. So let's go back to object mode. And now, as we can see, Teto is bird-braining. And she can rotate her head, and it looks great. I don't think anything weird is falling along with it. Sweet. And that's kind of done. We're going to add hair bones and bones to control her irises and eyebrows and all that fun stuff still. But that's the basic part of her head rigging just completely done, as far as I can tell. I'll double check that her irises are actually 100% weighted to her head, though, because I do have that issue sometimes. So I'm going to go all the way up to this. It looks like they are. Great. Awesome. So that's all looking good. Let me have a drink of water here. That was a whole lot of yapping. Thanks for putting up with my yapping, everyone. One moment. All right, let me catch up on chat. Hello, Ultimate, welcome. Just wanted to say thank you for your series on low poly models. I've been having a blast, and not only that, I've made a custom smoother model too, like a custom meat. Thank you a ton. Thank you, Demon Dagger Productions. Heck yeah, I'm glad to hear that. It's awesome. Holy shoot, no way it's that easy. I'm never touching Maya ever again. Oh my god. Okay. Maya's rigging tools are probably better than Blender's. Controversial opinion, I know. I think they are actually probably better. But, yeah, if you set things up the exact right way, topology-wise, and you do everything in Blender, it can be a really nice, relaxing experience. For sure. No need to fix the fingers if we say she's double jointed. So true. I am back. Is there a point in using Maya anyways? I've only heard complaints when it comes to it, and you have to pay for it. Maya, there's a ton of reasons to use Maya. You don't have to though. Like Maya's like, the reasons to use it are a lot more like you're trying to get a job in the industry. Like if you want to use Maya, you'd want to probably learn how to make animations, because animation stuff is what Maya's really great at. I do think Maya's animation tools are stronger than Blender, especially their handling of things like animation layers is extremely, extremely nice. I miss those every day in Blender. I have an add-on for Blender that for animation layers, and I gotta tell you, it's not the same as Maya. Maya having like that default support is just incredible. So that's one reason to use Maya, is that the animation tools are really good. But Blender's animation tools are also awesome for their own reasons. So it's like, it's not objectively better in every single way, for sure, when it comes to animation. And for modeling, I do think you should probably just use Blender. It's free. Its modeling tools are just as good as Maya, in my opinion. There's certain like strengths and weaknesses between the two, but I think just the sheer amount of tools Blender has, it probably is better. Or at least very close to that point, and it's completely free. So it's, yeah, I would highly recommend Blender for modeling stuff. For the weight paint, is it better to use gradient over Control X to get something fully red? The boring answer is that depends, Avery. If you're just trying to get something like fully red, yeah, just use the gradient tool. But if you're trying to do something like a smooth gradient, like a smooth transition between 2 points, it can be helpful for that as well, but it just depends on what you're trying to do. But if you're just trying to get something fully red, yes, the gradient tool is probably the safest bet. OMG, she looks like those yaoi manga guys with the sharp chins, so true. Auto-generated smear frame, so true, Emmy, so true. She's yaoing out. Bart Simpson math. I learned something that if you press L, I think it selects an island on the UV you separated. Is that the button? I thought, maybe in UV, the UV editor. Because I was actually wondering that if anyone knows, because this should be like its own UV island, as should, I think, one of these parts. But if I press L, it just selects it all linked. Oh, wait. Is that why? Because I didn't select. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Aryu. I was literally wondering exactly this. Okay, so if I want to select just a UV island, I do press L, but not by material or seam necessarily, but by UV island. The bottom there. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Aryu. Holy crap, no eyeballs head. You look like a horror monster. I'm going to think of that for a monster design. Yeah, they are very scary. They're very scary. Welcome, Viana. Welcome, welcome. Well, she looks awesome. Thank you. How do you weight paint by drawing straight lines like that? That is done, if we go to the weight paint option, it's done with the gradient tool. And in my case here, it's just selected, it's like 100% strength, 100% weight. Yeah, if you want to do like a perfect straight line, the gradient tool is really good for that kind of weight painting stuff. It warms my heart that I helped someone who helped me. Yay! That's what these streams are for, baby. I'm still learning a lot. So it looks like the spreading of the hands also work, or the fingers rather. Awesome. So we can spread our fingers. We can press S to scale these downward. Look at this. I think this is pretty amazing considering how little work we just put into this rig. That's why I love Rigify. Like, that's such a great rig you have for controlling hands. I think there's even like an IK option somewhere in here for IK fingers. I believe. Let me see. There might not be. I don't remember at the top of my head. But even still, this is awesome. Awesome stuff. And yeah, so let's check out other parts of Teto here. So it looks like her head is rigged up pretty good. Let me actually turn off Simplify. Wanna get the full experience. It's gonna get way laggier, but I kind of want to see what this is looking like. Looks like that's great. Sweet. Okay, so I'll turn on, I like to turn on X symmetry to check both sides occasionally. Looks like her hands and arms are okay. We might want to fix some of this later, but that's actually pretty all right. We probably don't want like a lot of stuff happening in the shoulders though. But again, you can fix that. That is fixable. Move this up. I'll just turn off X symmetry because we probably want to do that twice. All right, so now we can see this issue right here with the feet that we noticed earlier. I'm gonna go to solid view, select the shoes, then going to find the, where is it? I'm going to find the foot. There we go. The left foot of vertex group. Then I'm going to go to weight paint mode, turn on X symmetry, and again, I just want 100% weight paint this to the foot, right? These are shoes. They bend a little, but not very much. So now that I've weight painted this 100% with X symmetry, look at that. Looks like it's working. Ooh, that's a little weird. Let's see what that's looking like in weight paint mode. I wonder why it looks like that. I go to the right foot. I really wish you could search through vertex groups. I don't believe you can, which is painful, but I don't think you can. Oh, that was weird. Oh. Repaint. Foot. I think this should be fine. It might just be how the foot is following along with it. That's kind of waking me out. Why is it doing that? I think that's just because of the weighting of the foot. But I could fix that actually now that I think about it. So I probably want to weight the bottom of this foot to 100% of the weight of the foot bones. I'm going to go back to weight paint mode. I'm going to find the left foot option. That's the right foot. That's the left foot. Then I'm going to actually go to the draw tool, 100% weight, 100% strength. I'm going to just click on all these bottom verts so that they follow our foot a little bit better. I think this is all we should need to do. We'll see. I might eat those words. Do I have X symmetry on? I don't. Cripe. Let me do that again with X symmetry on. I hate how it turns itself off like that. Then I might want to smooth over that area. But we'll see. Let's see. So turn my shoes back on. Oh wait, my bad. So now, yeah, it looks like that's kind of following a little bit more how we'd expect. Fantastic. That probably looks good enough, honestly. You don't need anything super fancy with those shoes. Is the foot roll working? It is! Look at that. I love that. Foot roll's so fun. Yay. Alright, sweet. Fantastic. And there's a lot of little cleanup you have to do with this process, but I vastly prefer this over doing everything like completely from scratch, because I don't want to deal with like drivers and like rigging stuff more than I have to, I guess. Look at this! We can already make a thumbnail for Teto. Of course, we'd want to rig her hair eventually here. But look at this. She's already posable. We can do all this. Can like splay her fingers out. Can put 2 of these down. Wait, no. That's not a peace sign. Put 2 of these down. Put these back together. And it's probably a little easier if I do this in solid mode so I can see what I'm doing, because this is a flat shaded hand more or less with the gradients. I love doing little pose tests like this when I'm rigging. It's super, super fun. It's one of the most fun parts of the process. Sweet. Alright. Look at that! Look how cute she looks! We love Teto. Oh wait, that's not where your thumb would be. Probably be like right here. Let me create that. Yeah. Okay, so this would actually probably be higher. Really helpful to recreate these poses in real life whenever you do this. Put that right there. And look at that. Look how cute she is. Very, very nice. I'm sure there's a lot more work that we have to do here. but still. Oh, that was crazy. Ooh. Those knees are definitely looking a little sharp. Not necessarily in a horribly bad way. Are these even subdivided? I just realized. Oh, they are. Interesting. Just because it's low? Kind of. Interesting. But yeah, that's kind of the rigging process. It's been like an hour since I've started the stream or something like that. Wait, was it an hour? Yeah. I started the stream an hour ago and we're already at this point. And that was while I was explaining things. You could do this much faster if you don't have to explain things to your viewership. So this process is very fast. All of that is to say this is a very quick process. So, sorry, I'm just gonna finish this pose because I'm having a lot of fun. So yeah, that's Teto here. Now there's a large checklist of things that needs to get done still here though. So basically, let's turn neck bone. So that's a very basic demonstration of how this rig is looking so far. It looks pretty good, but there's still some issues. The first of which, pull up my tablet. So, first of all, you can see that there's some issues in her torso here. I have annotations off, don't I? Oh, I have overlays off. That'll do it. Let me just hide the rig when I'm doing this. There we go. So, this is looking good so far. However, there's still quite a few issues here. First of all, her hair is totally unrigged and it's completely static. So, we definitely want to rig her hair bones, but that's really easy. You just spawn in a bone, make it a child of the head bone, which in our case here is deformed spine 6, and then you just kind of auto weight paint them, more or less. Nothing fancy. Because it's a separate object, you don't have to worry about it bleeding into other objects too. So you probably want to clean up her hair rig. Definitely need to clean up the weights. Clean, shorts plus waist weights. So we want to add some bones to her hair and have a little bit of a hair rig, nothing fancy, just a very basic one. You don't really need anything more than that. I want to clean up her shorts to weight painting, as well as the waist area, because there's some issues there. Then I also want to, as we saw in the back of Teto here, there's some issues in her shoulders. So I would probably also want to add to my list here. Let's do fix. No, let's say clean. Clean up weights. Shoulder blade area. So we want to rig her hair, want to clean up shorts and waist weight painting, want to clean up weights on her shoulder blade area. What else? Yeah, because as you can see, we're actually seeing through the model there. But this is actually quite easy to fix. This shouldn't be too hard, thankfully. Maybe we'll do that in a moment here. Oh yes. So we want to do that. We also want to rig eyes. We want to rig her iris and eyes, which is going to be a whole different thing. Rig the eyebrows. Rig eyes, rig eyebrows. Then we also want to rig her irises. I don't know. We'll say iris. Then we also want to add mouth shapes to this model. That actually might be accomplished using geometry nodes, now that I think about it, but no, it actually will definitely not be. I'm just going to use I'm just going to do the mouth shapes for this character. I'm just literally going to make a selection of like the mouth part of her face. Because it's already weight painted, we can just duplicate that geometry, move it slightly in front of Teto here. Then I'll make a new material with transparency enabled just for her mouth shapes. Then I'll draw a bunch of them onto a texture sheet. So it'll look something like this, where it's like, you just have like default Birdbrain mouth. Then you'll have like a happy mouth. I don't know. Have like an O face. You have like a smirk, something like that. It's gonna look like this, and it's gonna be like, you know, the entire texture sheet, something like that. So I'm gonna make that texture, and it's gonna have a transparent background. So all of this part will be like transparent, other than the mouths. Then I'm gonna set up in my material to just swap between these in like one big sheet. And it'll just be like one transparent piece of geometry that is swapped between, and then I'll add a bone on our rig here. So this will be like a new bone, and if I move it up, it will switch between these shapes. So I'll start here, and then I'll just like go down and continue like that throughout all these different face shapes. So I'm gonna do that as well. So I'm gonna rig the eyes, eyebrows, and iris, and also do the mouth shapes. I'll say mouth shapes texture sheet, because I just have to draw these by hand as well. Sweet. But yeah, I think I would have to specify for the eyes that's not going to be through a rig. That's actually going to be through blend shapes, aka shape keys. Same thing. But this is not going to be through blend shapes. This is just going to be through UVs, because I didn't like fully model a mouth there, and I thought that would be kind of unnecessary anyway. So that's about it. We have to rig her hair, clean up her short weight painting and her waist weight painting, clean up the weights in the shoulder blade area, rig her eyes, add blend shapes to the eyes, and this part of the eyes, like the eyelashes basically. Rig the eyebrows, which is going to be hilariously easy. Rig the irises, which is also going to be pretty easy. Then I'm going to add mouth shapes through a texture sheet that is going to be created through using transparency and duplicating this part of her mouth. But after that, I know that's a whole lot of stuff we just talked about. She should be done, more or less. I don't think there's anything else we need to do, really. Unless I want to do some fun stuff like the expression Teto makes in the beginning of the video, where her eyes become like circles, like for the Birdbrain thumbnail, that face. Could also do that, but yeah, that's what I'm planning for this model. But let's take a drink of water, because I just did a whole lot of yapping, and I can catch up on chats. One moment. All right. No wonder she's a Birdbrain. Her eyes are more than 70% of her head volume. So true, Maya. They had to make room in her head for her brain because her eyes are so big. Do you think modeling every day would help on its own, or should I watch tutorials? That's a really good question, Weird. I know you weren't asking me, but I'm going to answer it anyway. I think both help. I think you should have if you are following along with the tutorial, like my low poly character modeling tutorial, for example, follow along with it, but then make your own thing afterward, inspired by the tutorial, but not following along with the tutorial. Like, for example, if you follow along with the Blender donut tutorial, afterwards you can think, that was fun, let's make like a different pastry, like, I don't know, like a glazed donut or something just different but somewhat similar. Or if you follow my low poly character modeling tutorial, you can make your own low poly character after that, like stuff like that. That's what I would recommend. Like, tutorials are extremely helpful and they save you a ton of time. However, you can kind of get stuck in doing tutorials, which is not at all helpful. So you want to get out of the tutorial hell loop as much as you can. think I'm gonna finish your stream. It's almost 3 a.m. at the Philippines, and I have an exam for 2D animation at 6. Oh my goodness. Get some sleep, are you? Holy. I'm getting really demotivated recently when it comes to modeling. I think I'm just gonna make an effort to model every day. Yeah, that's a great idea. Like, we talked about this a lot last stream, but just making the time for it is the only way to make it happen. And being very consistent. I would recommend making like setting yourself, if you take this stuff seriously, setting yourself like a 30-day challenge where it's like, I have to model for, it doesn't even matter how short of amount of time, like 15 minutes every day, 5 minutes every day, and just stick with it for 30 days. You're gonna notice that after doing it for that long, it'll become a habit and it'll almost be like painful to stop doing it because you'll really be in the zone of doing it every day. So, absolutely. There's a small triangle at the bottom left of the vertex list. It opens a short search bar. Small triangle at the bottom of the vertex list. Is this true? No way. I'm sure I've done this before. Small triangle. The bottom left of the vertex list. That's how you open the search bar? Oh my god. That is crazy. This is why I live stream. My chat has saved me like 20 hours of time today. I cannot overestimate how helpful that is. Oh my god. I'm sure I was told this at some point in my life and I just like invert. That's crazy. You go A to Z? That's wild. Wow, that is so useful, Maya. Thank you so much. I did not know you could search through. Oh my god, you search hand or fingers? That's crazy. That is crazy. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, thank you. Finally caught a stream. Welcome, Gearsio. Welcome. How much of this list are we doing this stream? Probably not much. Not much more. But I will try to live stream as much of this list as possible if people are interested. Absolutely. I'm used to rigging with empty weights. Is that bad? No, definitely not. Absolutely not. People would argue that's the way you should do it. This is just how I do it. There's no right, wrong, or right way to do it. Whatever works best for you. Have a good night, Rue. Take care. There's a search? That's what I'm saying! That's what I'm saying, Mox! Take care, Mel. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining. Power playing together, so true. This is very fitting music for learning together with your with your stream. Don't thank Maya, thank Blender. Ah, I wish I had like a slide whistle sound and like a drum kick. That sucked, but then again, it's a joke I would also make, so I have no room to judge. All right, so now, my god, I don't even need to search for it or look for it. I can just search for it. That's crazy. That is crazy. So for this part, I probably want 100% weight these to the deformed spine. I'm gonna turn these off. Let's see how this looks. So I'm literally just going to gradient this, and I'm gonna do it with like we'll do a hard or like soft-ish fall off. Let's see what that looks like in pose mode. Yep, that's better. Might need to smooth that out a bit, but that definitely seems better. Especially for that. That looks weird. I just realized it's not getting subdivided. That's crazy. Alright, so now let's do the exact same thing for the tummy. So I'm gonna isolate the tummy. Teto's big bread-filled tummy. Oh, so full of bread. And then I'm gonna go to deformed spine. Weight paint. Draw. just 100% these as well. Can you hear me loudly clicking? I'm sure you can. All right. Unisolate. See how this is looking? Look at that. Much cleaner. Sweet. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Very cool. This is a pretty extreme pose you wouldn't necessarily see too often. So that's pretty good. So now we rotate her hip bone. It's looking pretty clean, except that. What is that? That's kind of odd. Are these not both 100% weighted to the same bone? Because I'm like seeing through it. Weight paint. That is unusual. Maybe I just did not do this correctly in the model. Or maybe there's just not enough geometry. I think there's just not enough geometry. I should fix that. Yeah, there's definitely not enough. Add some more edge loops here. Now this is already rigged, so I don't know if Blender's gonna like me doing this. But we'll see. Let's see. Ideally, you want a similar amount of geometry between these two things. You kind of just want to line up your edge loops so they're fairly similar. What the heck? Why is that? It's weird. Alright, now let's see if that fixed our problem automatically. That would be insane if it did. It did not. But that might be because... it's looking better though, for sure. It does look better. This might not be 100% weighted now that I think, yep, it's not. That's my problem. So, to fix that, I turn off my armature, go to gradient, and then set this to linear. Wait, constant, not linear. So my fall off is just like constant. I don't know what else to say. So basically it's like, that's actually like 100% weighted. That's what I mean. And now, if I actually enable the armature modifier, it's still clipping, but if I look at this realistically, are you gonna notice that? Maybe not. At least not for now. That's not like concerning me. It's not perfect, but that's fine. So now, probably want this to bend less. Right here. I feel like the leg should have more influence over that part. So I'll probably go to the thigh. For that X symmetry. I'm just gonna experiment with what this looks like. Lower the strength a bit. Oh, that is the exact opposite of what I want. Oh yeah, I need to do this. Silly me. There we go. In fact, I should turn off the armature modifier and my annotations for now. Let's just try adding more in general. See what that looks like. It's a lot cleaner. Still not perfect, but it's a lot cleaner. I wonder if this would look better if I raised this above the armature. Nope. Because that's looking a little rough. I could possibly just have that as its own geometry on top of the shorts as well, though. For sure. But it looks fine. The fact that the pocket's going off like that a little bit is a little weird. This is not too bad. This is looking pretty good, actually. considering how little effort I've put into this already so far. Teto. I love Teto. I can't help but keep posing her. It's really fun. Which is a good sign, right? It's a good sign. That's, I don't have the subdivision bonfire enabled. That looks very smooth. I like that. It also makes me wish I got these. Nah, it's fine. So yeah, keeping in mind that this was not rigged at all when we started the stream. Pretty sweet, right? Pretty alright. If you're wondering why it's kind of laggy when I move it right now, it's because I don't have Simplify enabled, which I usually should add to my quick favorites because I use this all the time, so I can right click on Simplify, add to quick favorites, so that anytime I'm in the overlay, I just press Q and turn it on and off like so. You can see that, especially around her chest area, my goodness. Really makes things a lot smoother, right? In fact, speaking of her chest area, I don't think we ever tested the boob bones, the breast bones. That is influencing a lot more than just her boobs. So you'd want to fix that by like weight painting more than just that. You probably want to like remove influence from the back part, realistically, which we could do right now if we want to. So I can isolate this, weight paint, go to the breasted boob bone, and then left, turn on symmetry, set my strength to 100%, my weight to 0. Just get rid of this. And I'll make that a little bit lower. Because I have X symmetry on, hopefully this doesn't cause too many issues. That looks weird. Alright, now, move this around. Yeah, there we go. Sweet. There we go. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Sweet. All right. Would I need to animate these? No. Do I want to? Kind of. But yeah, that's kind of Teto being rigged here. Not everything was covered. Oh my gosh, I forgot to do this. Wow, Megalovania at this hour. Let me fix this real quick. Just want to 100% weight this once again. There we go. There we go. And there's still quite a few things in our to-do list here, as we just discussed. The hair rig, plain short and waist weights, though that's kind of mostly done now, I think. Cleaning the weights on the shoulder area, rigging the eyes and face, and the mouth shapes or the texture sheet. But after all this is done, Teto is finally done, which is really exciting. So thank you all for joining me for this stream today. I really, really enjoyed this. You all had great questions and helped me with this so much. I just learned so much about Blender thanks to you all. So thank you so much for all the different tips you offered, all the advice you gave me, and hopefully you were able to get some useful pointers from this as well. Final reminder, this course is on sale until the end of the month, not through this link, but if you use the exclusive link in the description below this video, just for people watching my stream, you can get 10% off my course that teaches you the fundamentals of making characters in Blender. This is a great place to start if you're new, covering things like character design, texture painting, and rigging, and a whole lot of depth. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. You can watch this entire VOD if you want to reference this later for how to rig your own characters. You can watch this entire VOD the moment I'm done pressing end stream here. You can rewatch the whole thing, add it to your favorites or watch later, and use it for reference as much as you'd like. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for joining the stream, take care. Have a great one. Bye bye. Bye bye. Take care. Thank you for watching.